Hello YouTube, this is Franklin West, and I wanted to give a overview of my beginner setup for all my audio equipment, especially my turntable and how I listen to different audio formats. So I want to go ahead and make it quite clear that whatever you can find is probably what you should start with. And that's how I built my entire setup, is what I had on hand and what I was able to pick up at thrift stores. I didn't really worry about quality when choosing my when choosing things. I just went by brand recognition. So when I was at thrift stores, I always looked for JVC and RCA, which is but we'll get to that later. So I want to go ahead and start out with my turntable. It's a Audio Technica AT-LP60X. I got the non-Bluetooth version because I didn't need that at the moment, because I knew I could buy a cheap Bluetooth transmitter if I wanted that feature later. This is a really great beginner's turntable. I've had some more expensive turntables in the past, but they're either on my workbench or uh, just not worth fixing. It's belt driven, which is I'd prefer direct drive, but still, see, there's the belt and the spindle under the slip mat. So it's really great. It's held up for about a year, and I absolutely love the way it sounds. I keep the cartridge protector on it, but the cartridge is pretty decent, to be quite honest. It's diamond tipped, uh, and it sounds decent. Not the best, but decent. So the features: it'll play your 12 and 7-inch records or LPs. It has a manual setting, which is great. If you want to select the songs on the album, it has an automatic, so it'll go ahead and move over for you, which is pretty great. And then it's got a stop. It is auto return as well. Over here you've got your adapter and your speed selector. The tracking force on this is great. It's way better than what I started out with, which is this shitty Crosley Cruiser over here, which I will never touch ever again because it has destroyed so many of my records. The tracking force on it is abysmal. It's just a horrible turntable. It won't even play modern vinyl properly, whereas this will. I absolutely love it. So it's got a nice dust cover as well. Now, it has a built-in preamp, which is so nice, meaning that you can just plug it into literally anything with an RCA jack. So I have it in this this RCA home theater system, which sounds pretty decent. Not the best, but all right, acceptable. And what's great about it is it has a 3.8 millimeter male headphone, not jack, but on the back of it, so you can plug in the included RCA jacks, or you could even plug in a like a miniature headphone amplifier and listen to it with some audiophile headphones. But I don't really understand why you would do that with something like this, but you could do it. Next, I have my JVC carousel CD player, which is pretty banger. I like this thing. Now this is European, so I have to have a plug adapter on it for it and a step down, a step up or step down in order to have it run on US power. So it's pretty great. I love this thing. Next I have this cheap RCA home theater system that I picked up at I think the Habitat for Humanity store, brand new in box, and it has 3 speakers, a center, a left and a right, and a sub, and then a left and a back right. But when you're using it to listen to music, that doesn't really matter, so I don't even have it hooked up. I have this sub over here. I'm not really sure how many inches. I think it's like a 4 or 5 inch sub, and it sounds good. I mean, it works. Next, I have my Kenwood's vintage hi-fi equipment that belonged to my mother back when she was in college in the 80s. So I have a timer that all this plugs into, and it's broken. The capacitors are bad on it, so it's on my workbench. But that usually sits up here, and this sits off to the side. But there's a radio receiver that's pretty good. And this amplifier, which I absolutely love because of the VU meters. So it has several channels. It has your tape channel, your play, your tuner, and your phono. And your phono is what you would plug a record player that did not have a preamp built into it into. It has a loudness, which is like a sound boost. This thing will blow anything. It has like 300. It's rated for like 300 ohms. So I actually plugged in one of these cheap little speakers and wired it to the back, and it blew immediately. So for a while before I even had this RCA, I had my guitar amplifier plugged into the headphone jack and was putting it into the active input over there. So that was really ghetto, and I did that for a while. And what's really weird about this amp is it has an A and B set of speakers. So you could wire a set of speakers and then drill a hole in the wall, and then have a left and a right in one room, and then a left and a right in the other room. So that's how you select the speaker inputs, which is pretty great. Of course, you got your bass, your treble, and your balance. I never really mess with the balance at all. But unfortunately, I need some shelf speakers that are rated for this. So that's that. Next is my cassette deck, which is broken. I think I either need to replace the reed head on it, but it's direct drive. I don't even mess with or bother with belt-driven cassette decks, because if you buy one, the chances are the belts are bad or the motor is all warped, and it's just going to be all fucked up. It also records, which is great. So you can record things off of the radio, which I have done when this was working. So I have to fix it. I'm not exactly sure what's wrong with it. So I want to go back to the Crosley Cruiser over there. Do not buy that thing. Don't buy it. For $40 more, get this. Get this Audio-Technica ATLP60X. It's amazing and cost about $99 at Best Buy. So I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Another great thing, back to the RCA surround sound system, it comes with a remote. So since this turntable is auto return, it's perfect because when I'm ready to go to bed, I go to the other side of the room and bring the remote with me. I throw on a record, go brush my teeth, and I put this on my bedside table. And when the record is, when the LP is finished, the tone arm auto returns, and it auto returns, and then I just click off on my receiver, and not my receiver, my surround sound system, and then it's done, and then I just go to bed, which is really great. So that's my setup. I hope to get some Klipsch powered speakers and maybe some JBL passive speakers for this. Klipsch makes really, really nice monitor speakers, but they're not super pricey. They're in like the $200-$300 range. So I think that would be really great to have this, because I'm going to get a nice turntable before I go off to college, and then take this and the 2 monitor speakers with me, and then use my passive speakers with another turntable, like my Kenwood turntable that's out in the garage that matches this set, which is really nice. I think I bought that separately. So, would you look at that? I just hit the 10-minute mark, and it's time for me to go ahead and cut this video off. I really wish I could do a demo for you, guys, but when I shot this video the first time and posted it, it got copyright claimed immediately because I threw on the Magical Mystery Tour, and I was retarded because I'm new to YouTube, so yeah. Also, this is a great album to sound test with. Other than like the Eagles' Greatest Hits Volume 2, because that has Hotel California on it. So, yeah, I got copyright claimed immediately, like 2 hours after it went up. So, that was retarded. So, fuck you, YouTube. But yeah, I highly recommend picking up this album. I have a restamp of this album as well, and it sucks ass. All my other restamps of the Beatles are pretty decent, but this is an original, and it even has its picture book inside of it documenting how they made the album. So, I need to clean this one, but it sounds impeccable for how old it is. So, that's that, and I'll go ahead and cut it off. So, thanks for watching. Franklin West out.